Today, we're going to talk about this one single idea that can change everything. Let's get into it. Okay, humor me real quick. The normal business setup, we've got a 30-day goal, maybe we've got a quarterly goal. Everybody sort of divides tasks, they understand what they're doing, team breaks up, almost like a football team. Everybody goes out, tries to run plays. Everybody gets back at the end of the thing with their milestone check-ins and everything else, and they're delivering as expected on their goals, right? This is probably the worst way to do it. Instead, what we want to do is not think about goals in that concept and how do we get something done in a certain period of time, like 30 days. Instead, we want to shrink the world all the way down to every day. And I want to think about this in the concept of every day counts. And I really like to champion this idea with my teams, and I like to train on this idea as a fundamental premise that nothing gets done without us, and nothing gets done without us doing something every single day. So in that practice, we get to articulate this idea that every day counts, every day matters. It's almost like carpe diem, right? Every day matters, and then what happens is the tribe of people in your pod or your group or your department or your teams, however you think about things, they get really sensitive to this idea that what I do today really does matter because my leadership sees that it matters. And then we have a drum beat that shows every day actually counts, right? So when we do that, what happens naturally is we start to pull back what it is in our goals and our deliverables so that we become more effective every day. We start to think about what are the meetings we're in, what are the distractions that we have? What are the things that prevent us from the one big thing that we're supposed to deliver today? And that's the amazing part of this is we get to get a lot more clear about our functional 8-hour day and how it is working for the big goals and the things that we have on our plate. It allows you to think about sort of if all I do today is one thing, what is that one thing I want to make sure I knock off the list? It probably is an email. It probably isn't a set of meetings. It probably isn't sort of the usual water cooler conversations. It's probably a very specific. So when we think through this lens of, I want to make every day count, what winds up happening is we start stacking those wins every day of deliverables and milestones being achieved in a much shorter timeline. The better part of this is it also brings us to things that block us from our results or things that maybe aren't as clear as we thought. So instead of people sort of putting things off, maybe not getting into things into the next week, they actually are, because they're chipping away at it every day, what happens is things that were unclear and uncertain and things that maybe weren't communicated correctly or things that were assumed in terms of resources, the reports we thought we had, or maybe the customer feedback we thought we had, or maybe meetings that we thought we were going to be able to put together, we get to those a lot faster. Those become obstacles that we overcome faster. And so instead of pushing all this out perhaps over a 30-day goal, and then at the end, the final week, scrambling to try to pull all these pieces together with a lot of stress and a lot of risk, we're just slowly and steadily chipping away. And the end product is actually tremendously better because we get to look through the lens of every day counts. And when we do that, our teams, they get more confident knowing that every day has a purpose. And if they get blocked or if they have some issues, they recognize they need to raise their hand and say, hey, this is what I need help with because I'm trying to do the best I can with my day today. Now, this is 100% a cultural thing. You have to instill this in your people. Otherwise, they'll come in with the status quo saying, what's the big thing you want me to do? And they'll act that way. So like everything else as leaders, they're going to respond to how we act. So when you act like every day counts and every day matters, and it really does, you'll get those results in your teams around you, and you'll actually wind up seeing that you create a ton of velocity and a lot of outcomes in a very short period of time because you've got amazing people. They can be supercharged around the day, and they can make it count.
No, I mean what do you want to, what I mean is have it there, and then, I was kind of on screen.